Do you ever find yourself thinking that, all DeFi is on Ethereum and that's just the way it's going to be? Layer 2s will save everything. Well, hopefully if you've stuck around on this channel for a while, you'll know that we also try and cover what's built away from the number 2 cryptocurrency. And we covered Karura in detail a few weeks back, so do go ahead and check out that video. And if you aren't a subscriber yet, then what the actual are you doing? Don't you know Andre Cronje is a fan? Yeah, for realsies. Thank you, Andre. So in this week's tutorial, we're going to look at moving assets onto the Karura parachain using the Karura app, and then look at what we can do once they're there. Now, if you want to follow along, you're going to need some KSM tokens, but once you have those, it's pretty straightforward. But before we get into that, just a quick word from our sponsor, Nansen. Are you looking to get insights and discover new investment opportunities before everyone else? Well, maybe Nansen can help. It's a blockchain analytics platform tracking more than 90 million addresses. Make informed decisions on your yield farming and investments through dashboards like hot contracts, smart money, and token god mode. See who has aped into a project or farm and look into the behavior of money flows on chain. Sign up now at nansen.ai and add more intelligence to your investment strategies. So here we go then. We're going to look to get some funds onto KaruraSwap, the first decentralized exchange in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. So there's a few things that we need to do here. It's not immediately obvious, and when I looked online, I couldn't find any videos about it. So this will probably be the first video to do it. Now, what we're going to need to do is set up a wallet, and it's a little bit complicated the way you do wallets on Karura, Kusama, Kablaba, Kaboomba. It's a lot of different parachains with their own different addresses, and we can see if we go onto the Akala wiki. I mean, how many different names do we need here? But if you look on the address formats, you can see here we have Akala addresses always start with the number 2. Karura addresses could start with a small letter like LRPQO. Polkadot addresses always start with the number 1. Kusama addresses always start with a capital letter like CDFGHJ. What does this all mean? Well, bear with me and I will explain. First thing we're going to want to do is go to the Polkadot.js extension, and this will allow us to set up a wallet. So we're going to do that and add it to Chrome. Add the extension, which is going to sit up here, and I'm going to do what I normally do, which is pin it and then click on it. I understand some disclaimers. Yes, all good. And now we have to set up an account. So we click on the plus button, create a new account, and now I'm going to write down the seed phrase. So make sure you've written it down somewhere safe, whatever your system is. Good luck with that. Now we've written it down, we're going to click on this little checkbox here and go to next step. And now we have a couple of options here. Allow use on any chain, blah, 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 blah. We've also got Polkadot relay chain, Kusama relay chain, .mainnet, AgeWare, Allegrium, blah. So these are all the different parachains that are possible. And what's interesting is if you click on these different networks, your address changes. So if I click on AgeWare, you see the address changes. And that's because these different parachains read addresses in different ways. But that doesn't actually mean that the underlying data that governs what value you have in your address changes, if that makes sense. So it's just like a kind of skin you put on your wallet. The underlying data, what it is, doesn't change. And we can see that on the Akala wiki. If we look down here, you can see that you have options to set address for Karura mainnet or Akala mainnet. So it says your addresses format is only visual. The data used to derive this representation of your address are the same. So you can use the same address on multiple chains. So it's not quite as elegant as on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, for instance, where your address is the same, or on Polygon, for instance. We're going to keep that as it is, and we're going to call this Supermassive Tutorial, and then we'll set up a password for this account. And then I'm going to add the account with the generated seed, and we are good to go. So now we have an account, which will live here on this Polkadot.js extension. So now the next step is we want to get funds onto Kusama. So how do we do that? Well, I have ETH at the moment, and I want to transfer tokens to Kusama. What I've been using a lot recently is ChainJelly. So ChainJelly is an exchange. It's a little bit like Shapeshift, and it allows you to send one token from one chain, and receive another token on another chain. So what we're going to do now is type in, going to send 0.1 ETH, which will give me an exchange rate of 1.216885 Kusama, because I'm going to need Kusama in order to transfer my funds onto Karura, because Karura is a parachain built on Kusama. So now we need to get some Kusama and move that across to Karura. Still with me? So now we're going to click on Exchange now. So now it's going to ask me to enter my KSM recipient address. And so we need to make sure that our address is formatted correctly for Kusama. And the way we do that, click on the polkadot.js. We're going to go to this little cog up here. Click on that. And then here, display address format for, we can look at all the different ones we might want to use. Change it to Kusama relay chain. And that will change the format of the address. We're going to copy that by clicking on these two little paper signs here, and then we're going to paste that into here. And then we go to next step, confirm, and make payment. So we'll just go through the usual steps of confirming that transaction on the blockchain. I can copy the address. I need to send 0.1 ETH to this address. Confirm, and now that is on its way. And then we'll wait for that to confirm, and I'll see you on the other side of the transaction. Okay, so that's successfully sent. Now, if I want to see my balance in my account, there's something kind of funny about the Polkadot.js extension. If you look on the extension page, it says the browser extension does one thing. It manages accounts and allows the signing of transactions with those accounts, but it doesn't perform wallet functions, e.g. send funds. So if I look on the extension here, all I get is the account. That's it. And I can manage how it presents itself, the address format, etc. But I can't do much else. So if I want to check whether those funds have arrived, I'm going to copy the address. And then I'm going to go to the subscan, the Kusama version of the subscan, which is the block explorer. I'm going to type in my address. I'll paste that in and then search for it. And here I will be able to see that I have indeed got 1.2 or so Kusama, and I can check what happened there. Don't bother with that bit. So the Kusama has indeed arrived. Okay, so now that we have confirmed that we have Kusama tokens, KSM, if we scroll down, we will find a link to a guide that will enable us to move Kusama tokens to Karura tokens. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger. And in order to do that, we're going to need to use the Karura app. And that's what we're going to do now. So this will ask us to connect using the Polkadot.js. Should pop up in a second. And I just need to... So now with the Polkadot.js and wallet set up, we can actually access the Karura app. And if you have any problems with this, just make sure that when you go to the cog up here, you can click on Manage Website Access, and you can make sure that this is set to allowed and not denied. And then we should be good to go. So now what we're going to do is go to the cross-chain tab. And what we want to do is an inter-Kusama transfer. So we want to go from Kusama to Karura from the account. And we want to set up the same account on here. And we want to send send the max. 1.2. I'm going to send 1.2 KSM over. So just to recap, what we've done here is we've selected from the Kusama chain to the Karura chain, from the account, the supermassive tutorial that I set up, to the same account, but now it's reading it as a Karura address version of that same account. And then we want to click on transfer, put in your password, and then sign the transaction. And it's done. So now I've received 1.19976 KSM on Karura. So if I go back to my Karura dashboard, I can see now that I have $220 in my portfolio ready for me to use on Karura. So what can we do now that we're here? Well, we can swap. We could swap Karura for KSM, or we could swap KSM for Karura, rather. That would be pretty simple. There's liquid staking. Liquid staking allows you to take tokens that you've staked on Kusama and extract the liquidity from them. So when you stake, you lock up tokens for a certain period of time, and liquid staking assets allow you to unlock that liquidity if you should so require. And that's great for the network because, staking provides security and it allows the network to remain kind of functioning as it should. But of course, sometimes you want to just go shopping and want to participate in DeFi. Liquid staking is how you do that. So now we're going to go ahead and use the swap on KaruraSwap because that's why we are here. We're going to swap some tokens from Kusama to Karura tokens. So what we're going to do is go ahead, swap one Kusama token for one Karura token, click swap, and you will see what's going to happen. Sign the transaction, and it says invalid transaction, inability to pay some fees, e.g. account balance too low. So let's have a look at what's happened here. So on the trade, we have the minimum received, the price impact, the trading fee, all good, 0.003 KSM. But then there's this flexi fee, which is detailed in KAR tokens. And obviously, we don't have any KAR tokens because we don't. We haven't swapped any yet. So in order to make this trade possible, we have to click on the cog up here, change the flexi fee. At the moment, it's KAR, and we want to change it to KSM. But this is where it all starts to get a little bit silly because in order to change it, we have to sign a transaction. We have to sign a transaction and pay a fee. That flexi fee is going to be denominated in KAR, but we don't have any KAR. Okay, well, we do have KSM. Can we not pay in KSM? Well, the fee token is automatically selected based on your available balance. Please go to setting to update it. Well, that is what we're trying to do at the moment, but we can't. Now, if we click on this, question mark, when the top priority token has 0 balance, the fee is charged with the next token in the priority list. If we look at the priority list, the next token is not KSM, it's KUSD. Can we change the priority list? No. So if I now try and send this transaction, it will tell me I have the inability to pay some fees, e.g. my account balance is too low. And I cannot find out how to fix that. Now, what I wanted to try and do was mint some KUSD in order to make that the next token in the priority list so I could pay with that. But I can't because that option is not available yet. So for the moment, I am stuck. Now, I appreciate this was meant to be a tutorial on how to use KaruraSwap. We have learned some things along the way, like how to set up a Polkadot extension, how to go through the different settings in that extension so you can read your wallet address for different networks. But in terms of actually using KaruraSwap, can't do it because the flexi fee is too complicated and because the settings are not sophisticated enough to allow me to do one simple thing, which is use KSM as the token with which I pay for activities on this blockchain. So, fail. A beautiful, wonderful fail. And it's taken me an hour to record this tutorial, which is not a tutorial, it's a fail. But we will continue and come back to Karura because, like all things, it will improve. But for now, enjoy not using KaruraSwap because you won't be able to. That's not a very nice conclusion, is it? But that's the way it goes sometimes. We will continue to observe Karura and see where it goes next, but I'm sure they will fix this. And there will be opportunities to earn and get APR and all these kind of things soon, just not right now. What a shame. I hope that was a helpful tutorial. As we've said many times before on this channel, alternative layer ones will have to work pretty hard to incentivize your money to move away from Ethereum. But yields are declining and you might well be tempted to cross those bridges into faraway lands. But as always, try and be safe out there. I'll see you on the next one. Peace!